Hello. In this video, I'm going to share the story of how God called me to ministry. It was during the summer of 2001. I was at church during the week of our vacation Bible school, and I was in the main sanctuary assisting one of the instructors. And suddenly, out of the blue, I just knew that God was calling me to ministry. And I didn't feel comfortable telling anyone that God had called me because it was such a heavy and serious and weighty matter. So I kept it to myself. But I did envision how God might confirm the call. And it was something that I played in my head over and over again. And I would imagine that the senior pastor of our church would one Sunday morning interrupt his sermon, call my name, and say, "You're called to ministry." And I wanted it to play out that way because I wanted someone who was already in ministry, who knew what it was to have a call from God. I wanted them to speak to me publicly, and that way I wouldn't be the only one hearing it. Well, I didn't really think that God would do that, but that's in fact what God did for me. Not through our senior pastor, but through a female minister who has the same last name as our senior pastor. And it was the next year, in March of 2002, I was at our women's ministry, and this particular female minister was there, and she had just finished preaching her sermon, and she was walking around the room and praying over all the ladies. And she walked over to me and she called my name and she began to praise me. And she said, "You are such a faithful woman of God." And she kept going on and on and on. And I thought that was unusual. But then I realized that what I had envisioned all those times was about to take place because I had a minister standing in front of me, speaking to me publicly. And so I began to listen very intently to see if she was going to say anything about me being called. Well, she said a few more words of praise, and then she said, "Listen for the call." And she turned and she walked away. Well, I burst into tears and I cried uncontrollably for a good 10 minutes because I was so overwhelmed by what God had done. I was overwhelmed that He was confirming the call to ministry, and I was overwhelmed that He had done it in the way that I had envisioned all those times. And I'm still awestruck by what He's done. And so know that God knows the innermost ponderings of your heart. And if He deems it necessary and sees fit, He can speak directly into your situation.